Helpful hints. We want to make the learning process as easy and as efficient as possible. So there's several things that I do that I find are helpful. First, I Xerox pages with the trope and with the reading, with the haftarah, with the blessings, with the maftir, the way it looks from the Torah. And I prepare that usually with a cover page for the student. And that's what I explain all these pages to her in the second lesson. The first lesson has been with the parents, and the second lesson is just ourselves. So then I don't want to overwhelm her at the first lesson. I also enlarge the print. It makes it easier for the student to see the little trope, the little cantillation signs that are there. So this is an example. I Xerox at 150% usually. I also use color coding so that each trope has its own color. I let the students choose. We use light colors so that we can read what's under them. For instance, on this page, the student chose yellow for the sof pasuk, for the end of the sentence, so that each sof pasuk is in yellow. It's helpful for the student to, instead of having to look for the little signs, helps them zero in immediately on the trope. It also helps me when I'm recording. It's much easier for me. Toward the end of our lessons, obviously we have to get used to using a regular text. So we'll go into a text, we'll choose a text from one of the texts offered by the synagogue, and we'll practice that and use that. But it's a helpful hint to use this beforehand. At the end of every lesson, I record. In the beginning, when I used to teach, I would record everything in the beginning. But that was too confusing to find the new material. So now we record at the end of each session. We record the new material, which adds on to the old material. And I use examples of just the new material, and I use examples of the old material with the new material hooked onto it. Also, I've found that it really helps almost every student to chart practicing so that they know exactly what I think they should practice, how many times. We make a weekly chart. It has the date, the day, and it has a list of what I want them to practice. This student was near the beginning of his work, so it says tropes, old examples, new examples, combined examples, and it has the number of times each day that I want them to practice. There's always a free day in there, a day without having to practice, and the child gets to choose that day according to his or her schedule. The second chart shows lists practicing that are near to the end of the process. And this one says blessings before the haftarah, blessings after the haftarah, the blessings before and after the aliyah to the Torah. And then here we're working on the maftir. So this has Torah trope, and then it has the maftir with spaces afterwards. When I record at first, I record something and I leave a space so that at home the student can repeat after me. And then the maftir all together, and so that they can sing with me. It's two separate processes, first with spaces and then without the spaces. And I list the number of times. And here, for instance, the student already knows the haftarah, so they only have to practice it once every other day. But with the maftir and with the trope, it's something new, so it's listed even 3 or 4 times each session. And those are helpful hints.